Hello everyone, this is Leimomi, Keliikuli, Intuitive Soul Alignment Coach here, and I wanted to do a live stream for my Soul Aligned Manifestation Daily Live Stream show here on my personal page, and I wanted to talk about the subject of, why building your spiritual power will actually enhance your relationships and actually help you create more revenue in your life and your business, and helping you to see what may be stopping you from really building your empire that you are wanting to create. So if you're just jumping on in, just say hello, just so I know that you're there, and at any time you can just ask any questions below. So I'm an intuitive soul alignment coach, and basically I help people to find their purpose and their passion by aligning to their soul's manifesting blueprints. So what I do is I teach people on how to use that as a catalyst on how they can apply that in their life and business. So what I realize is that people don't really understand the level of how important it is to know what you are at soul level. And even though that we know in our mind, right, like what we actually are, we can actually be creating a lot of misalignments in our ability of how we show up by just simply doing, saying the wrong phrases, to misaligning your way of how you talk to your people. And actually it's because of you're not very clear about your soul and your business alignment pieces. So a lot of what I'm going to share with you in my live stream show is these kind of topics, kind of educating you on the differences of how important it is to know what your soul is, to how to create a business that's aligned to your soul itself. Because I think we get so caught up in all the different strategies and all the kind of stuff that we learn from other people, but actually it really misaligns us from really stepping into our leadership and our potential, because we're aligning to the wrong type of energetic qualities, right? So for today I wanted to talk about and really actually demystify spirituality, because I think my tribe and everybody has been following me they have an understanding of this, but the way that I want to explain it to you is it's a very different frame of reference. So when you're growing in your ability to help people and expanding your gifts, right, or we call it your psychic gifts, your soul's gifts, right, your abilities to read people, to channel the right words, right, or group coaching, or whatever you are helping your people with, right, your way of expression. It's so important that you also know what your expanded part of your gifts. And this is why also I want to talk about that, because I can see that a lot of people don't know the bigger picture of their own gifts in a way. So instead of actually showing off fully, they kind of show only parts of themselves. So for example, right, if you are, let's say you're a coach, but actually deep down inside you want to talk about spirituality or spiritual principles, or I don't know, mindset work and stuff like that. But because we have been in our society labeling us in a certain way, we think that we have to act like I'm only a coach, right? I am only a writer, or I'm only this label of ourselves, right? But actually our abilities are so much more bigger than what we can see right now and the way that we are speaking and helping our people. So for example, I had a really good friend that she didn't really understand her type of gift, because people were telling her well, you said you were a good copywriter and you talk about mindset, and now you're talking about visibility. You're not a visibility coach. Why are you talking about all of those kind of different subjects? But actually when I look at her at soul level, that is all of her gifts all combined. It's just that she's expressing it in the same energy, but it looks so different, right? Because we are told that we have to like describe ourselves in a certain way, right? So what happens is instead of actually fully showing up, she felt like, well, am I a fraud? Like, am I not being who I am because I said I'm a writer, I'm a good writer, I can make good copy, I can coach people, I'm good at mindset, I can talk about spirituality and all of these kind of stuff, right? This is actually why it's confusing for people to work with you, because you're not able to talk from a scale of your spiritual power. Okay, does it make sense? Your spiritual power is actually made up of several parts of your gifts. But there's a main kind of energy that you're mostly, made of, which expresses in like different facets, right? Like a diamond has different facets. You can see different parts of the diamond, but it's still a diamond, right? So what's happening, I think, in general, as you market yourself, as you put yourself more out there, we are not so clear of our spiritual power, which is, to me, it's your spiritual gifts, that we end up like, how do I say? Like, we're not fully showing authentically. We feel very small about it. That, oh, if I'm a coach, then I should only talk about this type of, like, I'm a health coach, I'm a life coach, I'm a whatever label it is. You see what I'm saying? So, but your main core message has to be very clear to your audience. Okay, well, she helps heal people, but she also helps you figure out what you're passionate about, right? What is the core thing that people need help from you? And when you're super clear about that, you will see that like there are more, you will create more revenue and more, how do I say, like more revenue when you're clear about your main core spiritual power. Does it make sense? So like, let's say you are a very powerful type of soul, like a power soul. So your message has a lot to do with empowering people, right? So empowering people can be all kinds of things, right? It can be an expression of, I don't know, like helping people with, like when they have like been from a divorce to they have been disempowered by their relationship, or they have been disempowered by like their spouse in the relationship right now, their present life relationship, right? These kind of things. So, but the core thing of your type of soul as a power soul is you empower people, whether it's writing, whether it's speaking, whether it's coaching people in a way to help them see bigger possibilities or things like that. So, but if you know what your soul directly translates as, you will notice that people with that type of quality that they need, they will start to show up more. So the 3 reasons really why you want to build your spiritual power, which to me is like your highest psychic gifts, or your expanded version, your enhanced version of your soul level gifts, why that's going to help you in your relationships and create more revenue in your business is because number 1 is you will notice that when you speak from that truth, you will start to magnetize the right people that really resonates to your core main soul's spiritual power, right? So like my spiritual power is I'm definitely a healer type of soul. So I help heal people, bring their gifts all together, make them see parts of themselves that they have disowned. But in all the versions of that, of me, I'm coaching, I'm making their divine soul blueprints, right? Their template of what their soul is. I'm expressing it through holding sacred space for people with group activations. I am, doing grid work, right? But all of that is very aligned to my particular type of soul. So every soul has their form of specialty, you could say. I'm sorry, it's like cutting out, huh? Hopefully it's catching with the replay. But you see what I'm saying? So your highest, to me, your highest psychic gifts is actually your spirit, your higher expression of your spirituality, like your divine nature, what you are made of from source, what you are, how you express your soul's message comes a lot to knowing what your highest psychic gifts are, okay? And when you know that part, it's much easier to relate to people. Number one is because a lot of the reasons why people have relationship problems is because they're not connected to their, they're connected more to their shadow of their gifts more than their actually good parts of their gifts, right? So it becomes like a battle between each other because you don't understand yourself, number one, and then the other person doesn't either. And then like when you try to talk to each other, it doesn't translate well. We totally miscommunicate, right? Because we think like we are like this, right? Like what we think we are at one level, but in reality, actually, they're not authentically being themselves. So if you can solve that problem, right, which is knowing what your soul level gifts are, your highest psychic gifts, your most expanded part of yourself, it will translate so much easier for all of your relationships, like personal, acquaintances, like how you just, you know, dynamically speak your truth, right? So this is the number one reason is that when you are in alignment to that and you have expanded your spiritual power that way, definitely you start magnetizing your tribe, the right people who gets you and who will pay for your services. So of course you're going to make more money, you're going to have better relationships, and you're going to feel really good in the way that you relate to your people, to your tribe, to your family, to your friends. Everybody will just get it. But what I'm seeing happening is you're not in alignment with your spirituality, your higher psychic gifts, that it becomes an issue for everybody and how they can relate to you, right? Because you've disowned parts of who you are, rather than bringing it all together and talking in the same frame of reference, right? Even though it looks kind of different, right? But it all will be the core same message of who you are, what you stand for, and what your message is about, right? What your story, like even looking at your story, right, of that. So that's the first reason why you really need to build your spiritual power very quickly, because that's absolutely going to enhance your relationships and everything in your life and business, and absolutely will create more revenue, right? If you think about it. You creating money in your business actually just means that it's like the outcome of your divine self-expression. It's like the most tangible thing that you should get out of your expression, right? So that's the first thing. Second thing is the reason why you want to build your spiritual power is that your creation power, like your power of creation, will become very, very soulful. Like people will feel your soul in the way that you express yourself. Not just because, you know, you're just talking or regurgitating somebody else's quotes or stuff like that. Like it's going to come from your own divine self-expression. Your own truth inside needs to come through and shine through, even if it may have you're reinvented, which is, you know, you take what you've seen other people do and you kind of reinvent it to make it into your own type of program, right? Or your own kind of service or whatever you're recreating it, whether it's a product. Because the true creation actually will come from your soul. And so you'll notice that when you're awakening that spiritual power, your power of creation just gets bigger and very soulful. It's like the best way I can explain it. Like you really just feel in your heart and soul that it's coming from your divine self-expression. It's coming from your soul. It's not coming from somebody else out there. Of course, you can get downloads directly from source, but in order for it to become an embodiment of your creation, right, you have to bring that into and translate into words in a grounded aspect so people understand what you're talking about, right? A lot of the reasons why we don't make money or we don't create the tribe that we want and stuff like that is because we are not able to translate the language of our soul and the things that we want to express. Instead, it's all mumbo jumbo to the people that are listening, and then they're not really getting what you're talking about. So those that are actually become very successful in their business is they've been able to translate it in very, like, I guess in a strategic way, you could say, in a language that people are starting to understand. But if we go off the ball into, I don't know, maybe using spiritual jargon or using, you know, like technical words, like everybody's like, what is that, right? We really want to create it in a way where it becomes soulful enough that people get it. Like, the simpler it is, the better, right? So that's the second reason. The third reason is that you will actually notice that your community and your relationships, the way that they relate to each other, they strengthen, they get stronger because they understand you at a level where it's like, wow, this is what she's talking about, right? I get it. It's not like something, I don't know, grandiose, but it's something really real and tangible for people to experience. So your community, honestly, your community, whether it's, you know, online or offline, your personal relationships or people are totally going to get stronger as you kind of simplify yourself, right? So yeah, Christine, we worked on simplifying myself on my program and services. I'm grateful to Christine, my OBM. And so I feel like everybody has that expression inside, but it's becoming translated in a way where you have to hide yourself, right? Like, I have to hide my psychic gifts. But honestly, when you grow your spiritual power, you can talk about anything. Like, literally, like now, I guess like before when I first started out, for sure, I was like, I didn't want to talk about like very esoteric things because I thought, well, what? Nobody's going to understand what I'm talking about. But then I realized that actually by me talking about these spiritual principles, like I'm talking to you right now, it becomes so tangible that you're like, yeah, I get it. And the more people hear what you talk about, your story, the message of the day, the more you share about it, it becomes so much easier to communicate that soul's voice, that's an authentic expression that's coming through. But if you're not doing it every day, and that is probably why like no one's coming, right? So we have to create a way where we can create our content and share that message daily, whether it's writing, whether it's speaking, right? Whether it's like getting on live streams like this, being on video, doing group coaching or something where you're expressing yourself. Because if you're not doing it daily, this is the reason why you feel very stuck. I can tell you in the beginning when I first, when I first was trying to figure out things online, I didn't really express myself. I just kind of like, made a quote or things like that. And there's like 10 billion people online pretty much just regurgitating the same stuff, right? But just in different forms. A picture, a quote from Doreen Virtue or, people that are well known. But honestly, we want to create our ability of creation at a bigger scale by actually talking all the time of that new language that people want to hear. So if you haven't figured out your own unique way of how you're going to express it, then this is why you're lost in the game, because your expression comes through when you speak, when you speak, when you write, when you're in your coaching calls, right? When people ask you questions, like you seriously don't know what content is coming through until you're doing it. That's what spiritual power actually means. Spiritual power to me is your divine self-expression, bringing it and housing it together in a container that people can understand. That's all. But I think like we've been thinking like, oh, I need to, I don't know, like look a certain way, or I have to wear makeup or whatever, you know. I don't know what kind of excuses people make to not get visible, but it's true, like we're just not doing it. So Christy says, like learning a new language, gotta use it every day or you lose it. Totally. It's the same thing with your spiritual language, it's your spiritual power. If you're not like, if you're, you know, a psychic and you're not doing readings every day, or you are a writer but you're not writing every day, right? You lose your capability of, I mean, you can do it, but like the full expertise honestly comes out when you're that expansive, right? When you are in the moment channeling and you're feeling it 100% from your soul. So that's the 3 reasons, right? Why building your spiritual power will actually enhance your relationships, create more revenue in your life and business, number 1. And what might be actually stopping you from building your empire is you're probably not bringing out that self-expression enough, right? And when you build your spiritual power, you're naturally magnetize your tribe, right? The right people who really gets you. Number 2 is your power of creation will become very soulful. Like people will feel it deep in their soul. They get what you're talking about. Even if it's, you know, 5 words, they get it because they've been hearing you over and over again. And eventually it just becomes aha moments, and then they can, you know, run with whatever you shared, of course. But you want it to be soulful. Soulful to me means it's your divine self-expression. It's your authenticity. And the 3rd reason is that, you know, knowing and enhancing your spiritual power actually, you notice that your community and all of your relationships will just actually strengthen. It will grow stronger. It will grow deeper, like deeper roots into the earth. So I noticed that since I've been doing this live stream show, number 1, creating value posts every 2 days or something, or at least 2 or 3 times a week, it's really progressively helped me to understand what my message is and my story and who do I help, what kind of programs they need. So if you're not really enhancing your spirituality, your spiritual power, you will never really understand what your people need, even you can do a lot of market research. The market research honestly happens when you're in the moment with your clients, when you're on those group calls, when you're doing readings for people, or whatever your expression is. So that spiritual power to me actually is about like expanding yourself into your highest psychic gifts. It's really activating your brain in a way that becomes so soulful that you just gotta make money. You know, like you it's just like a natural byproduct of your expression. But I think why people don't make the money, you know, from their clients and stuff like that, or consistently, it's because of not being able to simplify and bring in the language of what your message really is about. So I want you to think about that, okay? What is your spiritual power going to look like? Who do you need to step into? What is that going to translate to your people, to your tribe? What's that going to translate into your programs? What's that going to translate into your everyday content, your self-expression you're doing, right? Because honestly, we don't want only strategy. We want soul, right? We want to talk about our soul in a way that people resonate so deeply that that's why they want to listen to you. That's why they want to work with you. That's why they want to pay you for, what you share. So that is a very deep thought. I hope that enlightens you in a way to kind of think in a different perspective. And I really wanted to demystify spiritual power, what that really is about, because it's truly not about some kind of overall power over people or well, I don't know. I think like people have distorted illusions, honestly, that I don't get because I don't have that in my mind. And just people tell me it, and I'm like, wow, like why would you? It's just, I don't know. It's just in our collective probably, and we've been so primed to think and be afraid of our gifts. But honestly, our gifts are so much more soulful and more beautiful and more simpler. But we have become so scared of expressing it. So instead of actually, being visible or speaking your truth, right? Or being fully authentic yourself and being yourself from the moment that you jump on this live stream or from the moment you write, that amazing content, it has to come from a deeper you. So that's my little spiel today. I hope that enlightened you. Does anybody have any questions about that or want to share about what, by listening to me, maybe like you got some kind of deeper understanding? It's truly about that deeper soul expression. So let's build, right? Let's build your ability to work at a different level and not be afraid of it. And also say it's okay for you to take on this new mission, right? And to me, it's your soul's passion, whatever you're passionate about. And like acknowledge it, because that acknowledgement is the first step, number one, right? So I will be talking more about this for my webinar. Yes. Sorry, I had like a brain fart here. Like my webinar this Sunday, I'm going to do it at 9 a.m. Hawaii time and 3 p.m. Eastern time. I'm going to talk about this type of subject, about your spiritual power, about how to activate your highest psychic gifts, the 3 secrets basically of how I feel that by aligning to your highest psychic gifts, how much that's going to manifest, beautiful things in your life. It's going to help you to enhance your ability to feel your soul. It will actually also clear a lot of that noise in your head or that procrastination and not being able to show up and be visible. Honestly, you're playing too small. So if you're able to see the bigger picture of your divine mission, your passion, right, and translate that into how that's going to work and how you're helping your tribe, it has to come from your highest psychic gifts, right? It comes from your divine expression, but at a deeper level and very soulful. So if you just jumped on, I would listen to the replay because I just totally spilled out some amazing content. And then also, jump on my free webinar. It's coming up on Sunday, like I said. And also, I've also created an amazing program just about that, activating your highest psychic gifts. So I will do group activations, and everything is all live. Also, stream from the grid work that I'm doing here on Maui to help you to awaken to your highest psychic gifts. I'll actually create your divine soul's blueprints. I'll make a PDF and a recording for you so that you have a deeper understanding of what you need to align to. And what we're going to do is going to take your blueprints, we know that you're a soul level. We'll do some mindset work, implementation, and I'll teach you also about your 4 major clairs. So the way that your unique psychic gift is, and then help you to brand yourself in a way that will translate on how you can use those psychic gifts in your actual program and services in your business, and how you're gonna become more well known for what you do in your industry. Because when I found that when you actually use your highest psychic gifts in this capacity, you naturally create more media opportunities to honestly, like media opportunities, and feeling very soulful in your business, but also like your whole revenue actually increases as you use your spiritual power. So it's a program made just for you to be in that frequency, to activate your gifts in that way, to have clear seeing, clear hearing, clear feeling, clear knowing, and how you're going to use that in your life and your ability to step into your leadership even more. So what I'm going to do is below, I'm going to leave the link of my webinar and also this new program that's starting on November 1st. So if you've been wanting to know about your Divine Soul Blueprints, my group programs are going to actually be all about that, teaching you how to take what you at soul level, which is knowing what your Divine Soul Blueprints is, your manifesting and your highest psychic gifts, and how is that going to translate into creating that in your life and business. Because what I found is, and a lot of people when they come to me, they've been to many psychics and people have told them what their soul level, but the basic things of what they've told them is very small compared to what I tell my clients. Like it takes me 3 hours to record actually your entire Divine Soul Blueprints. The capacity of knowing what you are at soul level and then translating that into your actual grounded foundation, that's so important to know. And I don't see anybody teaching about how to use your soul's gifts in your life and business. So I'm so excited that this is going to be a new way of expression for people to see what they need to step into at soul level. So, all right. So again, if you just jumped on, go listen to the replay because I'm just finishing up here, and come and see my webinar until Sunday, and also my new program coming up on November 1st. All right. Well, you guys have a beautiful day, and I will be talking to you guys all very soon. Aloha.